My story began when my mother wanted to raise me, but unfortunately she was very unlucky. She and the other gods have been cast into hell, but she was forced to be exiled in the Blue Underworld. And then the Civil War began. For 10 years, my country, Dagia, was destroyed by war. But soon a terrorist group called the Colothan State took over and ruined the country. Then the Imp City Corporation, or ICC for short, and their private army invaded the country and took all of us away from our homes, only to be assimilated into their ways. But we became their victims of so many heinous crimes that even many demons find it illegal, but not the people responsible for it. The Guaishas and a couple of deadly sins. Sorry, I went off track. Anyways, after the Civil War ended, the Colothan State took me away from my mother and left me to suffer in hell. I had to be assimilated by the ICC in order to not be executed, or worse. My owners and the ICC have tortured and abused me like literal monsters. Luckily, I've made friends with a hellhound who was also afraid of this world that we're both trapped in. Her name was Luna. She was scared of me at first, but then I expressed myself to her, and surprisingly, she became very fond of me due to her, curiosity. Though I didn't have a great way of speaking English, she would help me, and I would protect her whenever anyone tried to pick on her. We would become great friends after that. But there's something more. It's just, we felt more like, siblings than friends. Siblings who are always together in a void of darkness. But that wouldn't last for long, as my abusive owner would take me away from her when I begged for my forgiveness and wanted to stay with her. But they took no pity on me. And they took me away in chains and a muzzle to cover my mouth, like some sort of animal. And so, we wouldn't be able to see each other again until later on. Luckily, a Greek mobster imp named Darius Yalakis saved me. He and my Uncle Reno would soon adopt me after all of that. He was such a great stepdad to me. Although, he felt so much like a true dad, though I never really got the chance to see my real parents. He helped me without any bad things happening to me. I always had that one dream where I wanted to be a hero and save my friends and everyone else from their suffering, as well as exploring and adventuring new things beyond this realm. But that might have to wait. For now, all I've got is a wooden sword and a great imagination. When I get older, I became wiser and more confident about myself. I became so much nicer to everyone around me, always helping people in need of help. But then, something began to change me. I suddenly got this feeling that I started growing some weird powers. This sense that I've never had before. This voice telling me that I'm special is no rare occurrence either. There were times when my powers would suddenly spring up accidentally when I was little. I always thought I was just like the other hellhounds, but they would poke fun at me or look at me funny. Make fun of my accent, the way I look. Well, some of them did. I was told to explore that huge blue temple in Dagia to find my epiphany, and then suddenly, I began to realize who I truly am. As I dig deeper into the catacombs of that temple, it always gave me a very creepy vibe. Sort of like that, Paris catacombs vibe. I know it sounds crazy, but it's true. My grandpa, Galaskos, would suddenly appear. I was extremely confused and afraid, but he told me everything. Honestly, I was shocked and dizzy about all this information. He would soon leave and promise me that I would continue being myself. I would be redeemed. Not sure how that made sense, but it is what it is, I guess. Soon, everything comes back to normal. I began to realize there's more about me than what meets the eye. Or in this case, my blue pendant that my mom gave to me when I was a pup. I took a deep breath and listened to his words, moved on, and always stayed positive. And also not to tell everyone that I'm a death god. I always keep my secret with me. Well, except with Luna. But that's another story. Later on, with a couple of useless drama and jobs taken away from me, I worked at this place called IMP that I met Luna. Or, as they would say, immediate murder professionals. Some of the people were nice. It's mostly Luna, Millie, and probably Moxie. It's mostly Luna, who I've been old friends with ever since that residential school. The others are just complicated. Millie is alright. She is pretty nice to me. But there are times where she goes psychotically mad. Moxie, he always scolds me to get back to work. Blitz, oh, he's a handful. He's always so passionate about dating a Goetia. And his pony collection. Ugh. I was really happy to see Luna again after all these years. Later on, I would soon prove myself worthy, and I would keep to my words. But I would be caught in several missions that I ended up saving the realm from the most dangerous corporation in the rings. Ultimately, I would end up meeting a lot of friends, and we would always have each other's backs. Even though I may be a death god, but I would still be there for my friends, no matter what danger we would encounter. I'll always be there to fight any monster who dares to haunt my dreams.